Hi everyone. We are here for the day 2, my 5. So let's just get started. So I'm sure like as you started on day 1, we little bit focused on order by. So when you look at the sample questions for the exam or in general, when you're learning about SQL, that time or most of the SQL statements, they will have this order by clause, which is for the sorting. So as you know, sorting ascending, descending, couple of rules which we discussed yesterday. Yesterday, we were trying to compound the next topic, which was the union, intersect, minus set operators. Okay, so today we have couple of questions on set. So before we go for the today's topic, you must have seen the uh, questions without answers, and you must have seen the union intersect minus topic in those questions. So whenever I think of union intersect minus, so always remember the Venn diagrams. So those yellow circles, like which are there in your reference material, or even you Google on Venn diagrams, you will know what is Venn diagrams. So when we talk about set operators, so we have set 1 and set 2. So we suppose you can say we have red balls and yellow balls. So set 2 is yellow ball, set 1 is red ball. Okay, so when we combine them together, so now we are saying, okay, how many are red? How many are yellow? So how many only yellow is set 2 distinct to yellow? Set 1 is distinct to set 1. Then there is a pile in between. They are mixed. Both of them are mixed. So some of them, they can be duplicate. So intersect. And minus is like if we have mixed both of them, but we just want to take only yellow balls, then we'll say like, okay, distinct to yellow or distinct to red. Okay, so how do we do it in SQL? So most of the SQL, even MySQL, Postgres, SQL Server, Oracle, like we have this set operators: union, intersect, minus. We also have one more, which is union all. Okay, so when we look at this, just remember what all things, minimum things I want to remember here. So when we are dealing with the set operators, we will see at least two queries, two independent queries. So the queries, they can look as independent as you want to, except there is not going to be a order by clause for each of them. Because one of the basic rule which we discussed yesterday was the order by for set operators is always at the bottom. The ordering is always done by default on the first column of the first select. Whenever you're doing order by, you can use only the columns from the first select statement. Okay. And now going little further about the set operators, we need to remember that whatever we select in the select statement for each of those queries, there could be one query, two query, three query, five queries. There could be any number of queries. Each of those queries, they should match in number of column names, the number of columns which we are selecting, and the data type. Okay, so their data type should be same and the number should be same. So suppose I'm selecting two columns in my first select. So select employee number and employee name from employees. On the second select also, I need to have two columns only. I cannot have one column. That's an error. I cannot have three columns. That's an error. Also, employee number is numeric and employee name is alphanumeric, varchar2, varchar2. So the second query also should have the same data type. The third query also should have two columns with the number and varchar2. So you remember that. And if sometimes when we are selecting from the second query, the second table, or third query, the third table, what happens? We don't have the columns which can like match with what we want to select. But because there is a rule to match the number of columns and the data type of columns, there is always a trick used which is called as placeholder. So if you don't have anything to select from, you need to add a placeholder, just like a placeholder. For the alphanumeric, it will be a literal. For numeric, you can use the 0 or anything you want. Okay, so there has to be a placeholder. So this rules, just remember it. We'll go through the questions, and I have added a couple of like summary information from our reference material, so that just it can give you a good visual revision. So let's just go ahead and do that. So let me share my screen. Okay, so this is these are the questions which we are going through today. Again, we are going to see the logic, how we can try to solve this as fast as possible, because everything is timing in the exam. We have a lot of questions and we have limited time, so we need to see that we finish all the questions on time. So what is our goal here? We want to earn the Oracle Database Certified SQL Associate credential, or the badge, okay, which looks like this. So are we all motivated to do this? Yes. So let's just go ahead for more 5 questions. So over here, you see this question, select one. So as soon as you look at the question, it is a union question, set operator question. Okay. What is the question? Even before reading the full query, I would go and focus on what the question is asking, because sometimes the question is not related to what we are thinking. The question is related to a particular exam objective. And for that, you don't need to read the whole query sometimes. You just need to know what exam objective is as, so that you can focus on that factor. That's a tip over here. Okay. So it is asking what is the what is written upon the execution. So this query need to get executed, and there will be an error, or there will be 2 rows, 0 rows, 1 row. So in this query, if you see, there is a first select. It's whenever we talk about select, it's select whatever the column names from table name. Okay, so that's a complete select. Okay, so over here, one John as first name from dual, union, select one John as name, whatever the alias name for the column we are giving from dual. So we don't have anything to select from. So for this example, we are selecting from dual. Order by one is there, so there is nothing to do with the order by here. But the answer which is marked over here is, which is in the blue here, which is 1 row. Okay, so the answer on this is 1 row. So if the same question is on your exam, and if this question was asked exactly at this, the answer of this should be error. Why? Because the John over here, whenever we add a literal, okay, like a is, has, coming, whatever the wording we write, whenever we use any words or any of the phrases in between select, you know that they always have this single quote, always have single quote. So this John has a single quote, but this John doesn't have a opening single quote. So you will get an error. Actually, in this, you will get an error. But because the answer which they are expecting in this sample question is 1, so I would think that there is a spelling mistake over here. Okay. So if this exact questions comes on the exam, the answer is going to be error. Okay. Just remember, why error? Because this quote is not completed. But to make it 1, if you have seen, I think in the maybe I have made a change, or even I have not made change, I might go ahead and write a note over here that there are 2 possible answers, thinking that in exam the John is written properly with single quote, opening single quote and closing single quote, then the answer is 1. But if that first single quote is missing, the answer is error. So just remember this. So there are 2 possible answers. I'm going to make a note of it so that you know about it. Okay. But as is question, this answer is wrong. The answer should be error. But assuming this is right, there is a spelling mistake here. Okay. So the second question. Now, second question looks like, oh my God, this is select D dot, this join. Oh my God. So I'm not going to read that all. Okay. As I said, I'm following my rules. Let's just go and see what is the question first. So whatever this query is there, which is like a query with the join and all, which is okay. Also, it has the like a null if function. It has the aggregate functions. It has the single row function. So how much they can add in one query. So all these topics are in this one query, but actually the question, let's just focus on question. In which order are the rows displayed? So the question is actually very simple, target into order by. So I'm not going to look at the whole query. until and unless they have an option which says error or something. I'm not going to look at the query. I'm just going to look at the order by clause. And the order by clause says order by to. Then I just go ahead and focus on the second column. So my first column is D dot department name. Second column is round, average, null if, whatever this full expression is there, as average salary. Okay, so the answer for this is the rows which are there. When you say order by two, they are sorted according to this column two, which the alias name is average salary. So the sorted by average salary is the right answer. So over here, you just saw that we did not read the complete query. We focused on the question. We went to the second column, as that second column is a big expression, and always whenever we have a big expression in the query, we give the alias name. In real time also we do that. So the question was, what was the second, because instead of writing average salary, what is the second column? That is the second column, and the sorting will be on that second column. That's the answer. Now let's go to the third question, which is again like you have which statement will be successfully executed. So now you have three choices of actual select statements, and you need to choose one. Okay. As soon as you look at the select statement, you see that it is union intersect minus, and we need to apply the rule of rejection. So sometimes here we are going for rule of rejection. So first query, select nothing from rejected, because that itself is an error. Second one looks okay, so we'll look at it later. But let's just go to the second one. Looks okay because two columns are there. Over here they're numeric or whatever. Here also 3, 4, which is fine. Anything can be selected. It just, the rule is what the number of columns and the data type of column should match, which is matching here. Order by also on the 1, 2, which is always on the first select, which also. So the B looks very, very correct, but let's just don't take chance and look at the other two options. Select 1, 2 looks fine. 3, 4, union select looks fine, but now order by is 3, 4. So this is error. This is mistake, because we know the rule that when we do union intersect minus, the order by cannot be on the columns of the second or third or fourth. It has to be always the columns from the first query, first select. This itself is wrong, rejected because of this. The second one is select 3 from dual, union nothing, select nothing from dual. That's it. This is also error, because after select and between from, there has to be a column, there has to be a literal, there has to be something to select, you know. So with this, like all others are rejected because of the syntax mistake, and this is the rule violation here in the C, and we selected B. Okay, so let's just go to the next one. Are you guys having fun? Is it like interesting, like to understand the topic this way? And we will call this, like this is reverse engineering going on. Like we are trying to jump on the topics, but again, it is like you can see is 1 or 2 topics we are trying to focus. You can always go back to the book, go back to the Google, go back to the YouTube, wherever you go back to our review material, anywhere you want to go. Just find a little bit more if you get more confused. Otherwise, you can always ask the question during the support call. Okay, so now the next question is, which 3 statements are true about order by clause? So this is a very straightforward order by question. On yesterday's also there was another question which was a straightforward order by question, and the answers, like there is no query, nothing over here, it's just the regular rule. So again we go by rejection. Order by clause always sorts null value last. No, if you have seen any order by, like just do your select star from select whatever, like select star from or select 2 columns with commission. The commission column in the employees table, it is null. It has that null value. And do it and just do order by and see that what happens. They are always on the first, like they come on the top whenever we do any order. Okay, so order by commission, you do commission column, you will understand what I'm saying. And so this is false. The default order by clause is in the descending. No, 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 we know that it's ascending. There itself rejected. So over here in this question, they did not tell you how many right answers are there. Okay, so when you see this type of question in exam, it is going to have check boxes. Sometimes they are very nice, they tell that any 2 answers, any 3 answers, but in this case they did not tell how many right answers. Okay, So you just need to plainly go with the rule of rejection, whatever you think it is right, and whatever the preparation you have done on that basis, you will be able to decide. There is no partial marking. So this type of question in those checkbox, if you just do checkbox 2, so I don't think so they will get you the full marks for that. But these two for sure are wrong. Okay, so now like just read the next one. By default, the order by clause sorts rows in ascending order, which is right. By default, so order by clause can perform the linguistic sort. Yes, it can do, and a binary sort, because that's what the order by does. It does both the linguistic and the binary sort. Okay, so this 3 looks okay. So I would mark check, check, check. It will be check box actually. So with that, we go to the next question, which is the last question for today. Examine the description of the order item table, which is this. Now, examine the query, and they want us to complete the query and fill the order by clause. So again, this looks like on the topic of order by, and which two can replace the clause so that the query completes successfully. So over here, we again go by rejection. We know already what all the columns are there. In this type of question, I would read the query, okay, because more than column, whatever is used over here is important. It's quantity multiplied by unit price, quantity multiplied by unit price, and there is a space, I think, and there is a total paid from order items and this. So if you go over here, so when you look at this, there is no choice of error. Actually, this total space paid, this is itself is an error. So when you give a alias, you know that you cannot give alias with the space. You can give alias with the space, but it has to be in double quotes. Alias which has a space in between needs double quotes, okay, not single quote, double quotes. For alias, we always use double quote. If you want to use in concatenation, if you want to use as a literal, we always use single quote. For any comparison, for the filtering, where clause, we always use single quote, okay. Only in alias, when we have a space or some character in between, we use the double quotes, okay. So that is not there and the space is there. But if I look at this, this is a spelling mistake. This is a mistake of this sample question. Okay, we need to be like we have to think in a common sense way. So answer is given, but answer doesn't have error answer. So because of that, for sure, that's over here, it has to be total underscore paid, which is used here. Okay, so that underscore, for whatever the reason, is missing. So it's an error. But error option is not there, so it's a spelling mistake. So the right answer is like yes. If you total underscore paid is a alias, we can use it here. Quantity comma real quantity comma unit price, quantity comma if you, but in the query, like you're just using this one column, do you want really with that? We don't know. The quantity multiplied by unit price, that is the formula, the actual expression we use, which you can use. Only quantity, only because see, you want the sorting by the this complete column, okay, the complete column, not one of them. So because of that, you have to use whatever the expression or the alias which is used. So rest of all are rejected. Unfortunately, there is a spelling mistake in this, so may be confusing for you, but like just imagine that that spelling mistake is fixed, underscore is there. So this query, the right answers are these two. So again, you can reference these topic listed over here. And just to summarize your union, intersect, minus, I have put the notes from our review material over here so that like it becomes more visual and you don't miss any questions on union, intersect, minus. And couple of rules which I discussed in the beginning, those you need to remember. So these are the individual queries. This is union, which is the duplicates appear only once. Union all, the duplicates appear duplicate, means they appear like if they are common, appears 2 times. Intersect is common between both the queries, and minus is distinct to one of the query. So if you remember this diagram, most of the union, intersect, minus queries or the questions on the exams, they become very, very easy. And you remember those 2 rules which I just mentioned, and other rules were related to order by in conjunction with the union intersect minus. So I hope this makes sense, and most of you got most of the questions right. If not, little more practice, and see you next time. For now, you guys have a good evening. Okay, so let's just complete the session today, and we'll go for the next 5 tomorrow. Good luck to all of you.